I never take a day off, work around the clock, my engineer getting paid off. Rock like Ace up, like the weed and take off. So high, cannot see Adolf. Now I got these rappers all breaking up a sweat. Cause every time I get up on the mic, it come correct. And I learned it from the best, always dressing something fresh. With the full Lil Dime, big butt and nice chest. Yes, they heard I used to rock, yes. But now I'm rocking clothes that ain't in the stores yet. Travel back in time, I'm in a vortex trying to make...
Alright, how's it going, everyone? Here is my newly bagged Audi S4. I'm pretty excited with it. I just finished it last weekend. Got it aligned on Monday, so it's pretty much all buttoned up, ready to go. I'm just going to be kind of talking about a few key pointers if you're looking to bag this car. It is a little bit different than the B8. I don't know if you are coming from that car or is your first car, but I want to make this just to kind of show everything that I had to go through to get this thing set up how it is. First thing I'm going to talk about is the drivability with the car. A couple things to note. Yes, it is not going to ride as good as stock suspension. Yes, it will throw a code if you have electronic dampening. I do have KW cancelers coming in from Open Road Tuning. Hopefully I can get those in as soon as FedEx wants to release them to me. Portland's port is always pretty screwed. It is very wet outside, so sorry about that, but it's Oregon, so it's going to be like this for the next few, emphasis on few, months. The car rides phenomenal. Honestly, the suspension is very quiet. I really have no complaints about it. I mean, it's on stock wheels, so I mean, there's no fitment or anything to, you know, be worried about. I can ride this thing just super low, and it's not a problem. Turning up front obviously is a pain in the ass because the tires are 245 35s on a little 8.5. So I want to get that out of the way. I'm going to show you the trunk setup now and how I did it. So I'm going to pop this open. Psych, it's static. Okay, so never mind that. Back to how I have it. I wanted everything completely hidden, right? I wanted to utilize the trunk, my dog and stuff. I wanted to be able to have him in the back seat if I'm going grocery shopping or anything like that. Trunk setup is not very pretty, but everything works. So I have the dual compressors with the harness. Everything's underneath the tank. The compressors are bolted into this little wood thing that I cut out along here, which is cool. All the harnesses are here. Like I said, the lines are kind of a little bit jank. I mean, a zip tie could fix that, make it look a little better. There's the lines for the management, the dump muffler, because I don't like the sound that it makes when it airs out. I think it's too obnoxious. It's kind of just like a look at me thing. But all the lines, all four, right? There's a pocket for S4s. I can't speak for S5s. I don't know. I know the trunk's a little bit different. There's enough room to run one that way. And that one was the front. That's the first line that I ran, so that's where it went. The second one, you can kind of see, so it's front left, front right, rear left, rear right. So this might look a little weird because this one goes off this way and then out. For this side, there's a hump, which is kind of weird, but I don't know, I'm not Audi. So they just all kind of go underneath, kind of intertwined, and then comes up. And then there are pockets. I'm not gonna show you in this one. It's easier to see on that one. I will show that in just a few moments, but yeah, fully hidden. Really like it. No rattles. It's pretty quiet even with this thing down, which is pretty cool. But yeah, hidden trunk. Okay, I'm gonna do my best to capture this. There are pockets, little, like, I think they're just pressure releases in the trunk, in that pocket right there. So that's where I've always fed airlines through on all of my cars, my Volkswagens, Subarus, and my old Audi. So the one that ran pretty much down this way, I popped this cover off, and you just run it underneath. And then the one that runs basically underneath this little board right here, right there. And then it runs right in, and basically the way I did it was you come down, and it's kind of weird. I don't want to get under the car, and obviously it's wet. The line comes down like kind of right here, and then it swoops up, and then it'll follow the line, so you can go behind the shock, right? Because it's separate, it's a bag and then a shock. You go behind the shock and it rests on the brake lines, I want to say. It'll go all the way down underneath all the plastics and then up through the fender liner up front, and then basically the leader line will come down, swoop up, and then in, right? So into the fender liner. You just want to make sure you have full lock and that the leader line has enough slack, because if it doesn't and it pulls, you're gonna have a bad time. So the rears on this car are a pain in the ass. They're not like a B8. If you remember, if you have a B8 or had a B8 or know, the fitting is on the top of the bag, right? With this, the fitting is on the left side for the driver, right? So the bag, if you're looking at it, picture like 4 holes, like one here, 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 and here. Fitting is here, and it only points that way toward the front of the car, which is not ideal, because now the line has to come basically down here, up, and then horseshoe around. I do not like that. I think that with a 3/8 line that I'm gonna, be having for the whole time, I'm gonna use some of these. I have a ton of them. These ones are Amazon ones. I'm gonna get more off Bag Rider that are actual, that are better quality. I just don't like them, but it's gonna go around and it doesn't kink. You just make sure you use enough, but it's not a good design, but you get it done. But yeah, you have to, so for the passenger side, right, it's the same thing. So it'll go down, around, and then horseshoe back, and then hook in. It's not ideal, but I'm assuming that just because the way the rear suspension is on the B9s it's kind of the only way you could do it. But yeah, rear is the hardest part. Front's way easier. It's the opposite on a B8. The rear was easiest, and now the front was the hardest, but it's the other way around now. But it looks awesome, drives awesome. It's awesome. Now I'm going to show you the fuse. I'm not going to unbutton it, I'm just going to tell you. I'm going to show you where it is. The beautiful part of the B9 and B8 for the matter, but this is a B9 video. The battery's in the trunk, and there are fuses in the trunk too, on the sides where you run the lines. I don't think any of those lines are ignition sourced, meaning that like they are not always live, or they don't hold some sort of memory. Anyway, the fuse you want to use is actually really easy to use. It's not right there. It's underneath the dead pedal. I have these floor mats, so you can't really see, but it's underneath the dead pedal. I'll put a link up, or a picture right here. It's the home link fuse. So if you know, the home link does not work if the car is at least not in the ignition mode. So that's the fuse to use. It's quite easy, because I mean, I didn't even have to take any of the trim apart, like inside. Like, I actually scratched that. I took the back bench seat out because I wanted to run the controller to the center, and it just made it a little bit easier. And then while I was doing that, I ran the ignition wire, which is the only line aside from the controller wire that has to go to the front of the car. That's it. You don't even have to run the controller wire. If you don't want a controller, you could just leave it in your trunk and use your phone. But yep, just followed it along through the seatbelt, through the pillars, or kicker thingies, I don't know. And then literally just a fuse tap thing. Okay, now I'm gonna take you to the front into the engine bay. I'm just gonna show you. This thing is heavy. I'm gonna show you kind of where they sit. So I think on the B8, or I know on the B8, it was not a setup like this, right? It was I think it was 4 huge bolts you had to get underneath the rain tray, and 2 right here, and you had to drop that whole alien looking thing. Nope, it's a traditional kind of like your Subaru or any normal McPherson style strut. It's 3 bolts up top and then the shit underneath. But yeah, you pop the caps off and then you pull up on this gray thing, squeeze it, and then kind of jiggy wiggle back, and then it pops out. That's for the dampening. I just have them taped because my cancellers have not come in yet. But yeah, super simple. You have your dampening right here, right? There's no camber adjustments because these have uppers. If you can see, there she blows. I've seen some people, I guess, cracking their like top part up here. With this, I'm not too sure of that. I didn't have that problem in the V8. This is quite different in the B9, but it doesn't really look like it hits. That's kind of my limiting factor for low right now. I mean, this thing's obviously going to pop up. It's going to get dirtier in here, but that's just something you got to do. But yeah, there's the other side. Super duper simple. Not too shabby. Worked out. So I'm going to include this in here just to kind of show. It'll be hard to capture on video and mic how this sounds, but I'm aired out right now. I'm going to air up fully just so I can show the rear dampening. And the compressors are going to run because it's a 3-gallon tank. So I'm just going to go all the way up. Which is about there. And you can kind of hear it here. I'll close the door. And it's yelling at me that my suspension's gone. Yeah, so it's not too loud. I mean, obviously it's an Audi, so it has good sound deadening in it, but I mean, 2 compressors vibrate and they make noise, so you're gonna hear them regardless, but they're not on for long. I mean, that was from 0 to 90 and they're off, right? So it does not take long. It's pretty simple. It's worth it. Okay, I just want to show, this is basically the car at the max height that it goes. So that's about 90 PSI. It's still a little bit, you know, on the lower side. I think this is what like aggressively dropped springs would be like. It's at the top of the tire. I don't drive like this, though I could. I mean, there's only so much height the bag can give you. Don't expect, you know, full Hummer H1 air. I mean, I might be able to go a little bit higher because it's only 80 in the rear. Usually they max out at like 100. Let's see what happens. Oh yeah, no, we got a lot more. It was just because the tank. Yeah, okay, cool. So we had more to go. We can go about 120. I don't like that. Actually, let's go down a little bit. I'm gonna find a different mount. This one's too flimsy. I feel the car getting like lower and lower by the second. Okay. Yeah, this is higher. That's almost, I mean, that's like, I would compare that to like 034 springs. Actually, no, they go a little bit lower than that. I'd like to think at least. So it's kind of difficult to see. I'm gonna try to get my hand up in there. Maybe it'll adjust, but that, you're not gonna be able to see. That's where the adjustable dampening is. You really can't see that in there, can you? Oh. Now, there's a knob on the top, and you just simply spin it. And you can make it soft and hard, and I shouldn't have said that either. Whatever, you get it. But now, you can see how fast it'll air out. Here, I'll connect for you. So it connects super quickly. Right, not a problem. You see the GoPro in there. That's pretty cool. Right? So I just have it on an air out setting, 1 step. So I will show you. Wait, what happened? Why'd it go dark? Okay, that was weird. I'll show you. Right? It's quick. That's what 3/8 lines. I feel like this car is big and deserves the bigger 3/8 lines. That's just me. I had that on my B8, and I loved it. Personally, I think it's more accurate than the 1/4" lines. It's just a little bit harder to route because those lines are huge. You're wrestling an anaconda underneath the car. Gardener snake. Yeah, you know what I mean. But yeah, here she is, laid out. I'd give it a 10 out of 10. I think it's super worth it. Kits are expensive, prices are going up, shit's harder to get. 3/8 manifolds, I mean, obviously they took forever to come in. I think I ordered this a month ago, whole kit about a month ago, and it just came in kind of like a week and a half ago. But I got everything on, did the trunk in a weekend, then did the air the next weekend, and it was pretty cool. So as for the controller mount, I really can't figure out a good place to put it. I thought this was okay. This wire definitely pisses me off. But I mean, it's just a mount. I think I bought this at AutoZone. Yeah, I mean, it works, but like I said, like you'll see in the previous video, it was a little bit wobbly, and I mentioned that I don't really like it. I'm more of a fan of like my controller sitting like up here, right? Or I even thought about having it down here. I don't like it over here. I think it's distracting from that, because it's like right in your view and then you can see it, and I don't know, it's not my style. But this works for now. I just need to get a little like cable management and kind of tie this wire like here, because I hate that it rests right here. I'm not a fan of that, so I'll figure out something. I have like little cable management things for my office at home, but yep, I'll find them out.